watch them fight and die in the name of freedom. They speak of liberty and justice, but for who?
Anticipated titles in gaming history. Now, in this 4-part series, get an inside look on the making of this truly revolutionary game. Inside the process of the creative team, the designers, writers, artists, and animators who brought it to life.
That's what we need. It's going to be like a cloud of smoke.
Inside the technical breakthroughs that made it all possible. And inside the American Revolution, with interviews from war historians.
There was a slaughter on the ground.
Soldiers.
It's guerrilla warfare.
And weapons experts.
They would use their weapon in whatever way they could.
Who show us just how brutal the war really was. This is Inside Assassin's Creed 3.
I don't think people realize how big an undertaking it is, how many people it takes to sort of achieve the level of quality and scope that we have.
Assassin's Creed 3 is a big-scale game. The amount of things that are produced per day, that are developed per day, it's amazing.
The team has grown to be several hundred people in 5 studios around the world, all of them working on really specific elements, so the amount of work is just staggering.
In total, it's over 30 hours of gameplay, and we have 2.5 hours of cinematics, which is as much as any major length movie, or even more.
We have an amazing team on AC3. Everyone's super passionate about the project.
When we started AC3, we knew it had to be big and ambitious and different.
It's very rare in your career that you get an opportunity to try and go for the gold medal, and we really felt like this was our shot at it. A lot of tired people on the floor right now, but a lot of happy, tired people. We've always tried to pick exciting periods in history, then drop the player in, so they're exploring that time as well as our fictional story.
Make ready. Present.
The American Revolution was a very pivotal time because the concept of self-government as opposed to being governed by royals, it was very radical for the era.
It's a great setting for a game because there's high stakes. It was the founding of a nation. It was a time when an individual could make a difference. It was all or nothing. They had to win or die.
The Revolutionary War was an incredibly brutal experience.
This is something you just don't really hear about in the history books, and something we wanted to bring to life in the game.
Connor is our new hero in Assassin's Creed 3. He's half British, half Mohawk. He's humble and more grounded to nature type of person.
We did a lot of research into Native American culture. We've recorded dialogue in their native language.
Excellent. I loved it.
And we've tried very hard to reflect their culture as accurately as possible.
His name, Radun Hagedum, it refers to a life that is scratched, meaning that he had to struggle to survive.
Connor, as a hero, is someone who sees himself as a defender of the people.
He's more inclined to justice than revenge.
One thing to declare our independence. Now, my friend, we must make it so.
Connor's goal is to assassinate key historical figures at major battles, at major events during the Revolution.
He's a stealth operator. He can come out and viciously make a great kill, then blend right back in.
If George Washington would have had Connor on his team, he wouldn't have needed many other people.
Anvil Next is an engine that gives us the possibility to do things that were not possible to do before.
The weather system, the seasons, the formable snow, bigger worlds in general, the ocean. It's the sum of 3 years of improvements that we've built upon.
Brand new navigation system, brand new combat system, 2,500 characters on screen at any one time, being able to cut through interiors in the city. Anvil Next is a massive leap forward in terms of gameplay opportunities.
Cliffs, trees, climbable stuff, water. That was pretty exciting, but also very challenging.
We've got the frontier. As well, we've got two of our major cities, Boston and New York.
Once we dug up maps from the period, we tried to match street for street or major avenue for major avenue. We recreated Boston and New York at about 1:3 scale.
We set out with crazy ambitions for this game, and with Anvil Next, it brings the experience to a whole new level.
The fascinating thing for us is that we can bring history to life. We can actually make it a place that's explorable and vibrant and real. We hope we're offering by far the biggest and best Assassins yet.
Next time on Inside Assassin's Creed 3, combat, weapons, and tactics.
American tactics were really frowned upon by the British.
He was trained in a very different style of fighting to the British soldiers.
Connor is essentially the first guerrilla fighter.
In this 4-part series, get an inside look on the making of one of the most anticipated titles in gaming history. Inside Assassin's Creed 3.
Connor is the brand new hero in the game. He's a brand new assassin. He's half Native American, half European. We wanted to build that base conflict into his background.
Why are you here?
When he begins his journey, he has a very clear sense of what is right and what is wrong. He is forever motivated by a desire to do the right thing.
Commander, Connor.
He's fighting for freedom and he's fighting against tyranny.
You as Connor, as the assassin, are the critical part of the American Revolution.
The way that we wanted to deal with the historical figures was for you to meet them sort of over the course of your journey in a way in which the history books wouldn't normally portray them.
General Putnam.
Many of the founders were very tough individuals. Many of them were the equivalent of the modern badass.
Our founding fathers were very hard, disciplined, dedicated individuals who wanted freedom, who wanted liberty, who wanted to express themselves in their own way and not be controlled.
These founding fathers were comfortable with war, and they were warriors.
Do not fire until you see the whites of their eyes.
Connor doesn't know much of the European ways at first, and then he gets to learn about these guys, these heroic figures. So for Washington, for instance, he sees that very strong guy, and Connor believes in him.
Connor is moving in and out of both the revolution and the rest of the history. Whenever he sees conflict between two groups, he takes the side of the greater good.
We've been working very closely with the Mohawk consultant on values as well on language.
We are Gunyet Gahaga. Gunyet Gahaga means the people of the Flint.
Agoroteka, you're doing great.
And our language is called Gunyet Geha.
Every time that he's with his people or in his village, they speak the language, which I think is really cool.
Connor, as a Native American character, is very familiar with Native American war clubs, with the tomahawk, with the bow.
He's got very refined sense of hunting and tracking. He's been raised with the ability to navigate this environment.
Connor has a lot of his ancestry's strength from the Mohawks. He's strong, he's agile, he's able to run in the wood very quickly. It's really his nature, that's really his home.
We had so many different versions of Connor, and he started off really slim, and then we bulked him up by adding fur and cloaks and all these things.
Instead of this thin, lean assassin, like he fills out his coat. He's just a warrior in every sense.
The animation team has built over an hour of new animations just for Connor alone.
We started by looking at lots of military moves and even traditional ones of how you would fight with a tomahawk. We looked at that and we just thought it wasn't awesome enough. So we went really brutal, and it wasn't just throwing in blood.
We put a lot of time into the navigation elements, and we've completely redone our climb system. We really wanted it to be much more organic.
There's so much variety in what he can climb and how he can do it.
Connor moves are directly inspired by parkour.
Parkour is basically all about efficiency of movement, the quickest manner from point A to point B. When you see specific parkour movements, Connor doing a lazy vault or a dive roll, the movements themselves are very accurate. Connor moves in the game like I want to move in real life.
We wanted Connor to be a dual-handed specialist, so basically he's ambidextrous, he can fight with both hands.
When he lands, the ground shakes. And when he fights, people are getting knocked left, right, and center. He's very brutal.
He is battle-driven. He's brutality, and is the type of assassin who comes up and kills without question or hesitation.
The soldiers
we're not really able to go up against Connor. Connor's a killing machine. He's a ninja and a tank with a Wolverine in there.
Next time on Inside Assassin's Creed 3, America by Land and Sea.
You control the sea and you control the conflict.
What's new about Assassin's Creed 3? Obviously new cities with New York and Boston.
It was a gamble every year that you were out on the frontier, whether you're going to make it or not.